Hey guys, what's going on? My name's Alex. I'm coming at you guys with my review for WWE Night of Champions on September the 20th, 2015. And Night of Champions came from the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas. Pay per view was solid but unspectacular. I'd give it a full 5.5, 6 out of 10. There was only one match that really stood out, which was the Rollins and Cena match for the United States title. All the other matches were solid, like I say, but there was nothing really that stood out for me. There were individual sort of highlights, but nothing really to sort of jump out and sort of grab your attention. The only thing that really grabbed anybody's attention, other than the US title match, was the Paul Heyman promo for Brocktober, as it is now known. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. We started with the pre-show, as we nowadays do with the WWE. I don't usually watch them, but seeing as I'm doing these from now on, I thought I may as well. Didn't do anything for me whatsoever. The only thing that really was of any note was of what order Rollins would defend his two titles in, and they were back-to-back matches. Sheamus cut a promo saying that Rollins would defend the US title first, and then the WWE World Heavyweight Championship straight after. And then, of course, obviously he had his briefcase. He teased the cash in all day. He's been teasing it for 3 weeks. Did he cash it in later on? You'll have to stay tuned to find out. But yeah, that was the only thing that really stood out for me. The Kevin Owens promo was pretty good, saying about the legitimacy of the Intercontinental title and what it means to him. More money, top shout for that. Better life for his family. It was a real sort of legitimate promo. He's a really cool guy. We'll talk about his match in just a minute when we get to it, as it opened the official show. But the match on the pre-show was the 6-man tag between Neville and the Lucha Dragons and Stardust and the Ascension. Not a bad match. I didn't expect Stardust and the Ascension to win. That sort of caught me off by surprise a bit. Nice surprise. I genuinely thought Neville and the Lucha Dragons would pick up the win. They were a really good sort of unit, those three. There were some really cool high-flying moments, really cool moves. Neville's aerial offense is just absolutely incredible. The guy is so good. He's super confident as well, especially with moves like that, because there's some serious amount of danger, and if you got one of those wrong, he'd be in trouble. But they are super cool. He really needs a bigger push. I think if Stardust dropped if Cody Rhodes, I should say, dropped the Stardust gimmick, I think he should have a bigger push as well. He's really talented in the ring. And he won with the Queen's Crossbow. And that was all really... It was a decent match, like I say. The Ascension, they are, at this point, may as well just be pre-show jobbers. There's nothing to their gimmick. They're supposed to be the sort of big, tough tag team they're just not. You look at the strength of the tag team division at the minute, and you've got the Dudleys who are back, you've got the New Day, you've got the Primetime Players. When Tyson Kidd comes back, Cesaro and Kidd will probably team back up. You've got like a really sort of in-depth tag team now division, and the Ascension are at the bottom, and they are not going to come back up very quickly unless they change something rapidly. It's they came back up from NXT along with the Lucha Dragons, and the Lucha Dragons were a lot more entertaining. I don't see where the Ascension are going to go, to be honest. I don't see them in WWE much longer either, to be perfectly honest, but we'll see what it is. It is what it is. But Stardust picks up the win for his team, but like I say, him and Neville really need to be sort of pushed further up. They're two really talented guys. And I'm pretty sure along with sort of Ziggler, Kevin Owens, Cesaro, if him and WWE decide to sort of get rid of him and Kidd, they could really push for sort of mid-card titles and make the titles more relevant. But we'll talk about those in a minute. But that was the pre-show. You just had the 6-man tag and a couple of promos. There wasn't really anything too special to it. It was just sort of building up towards the main pay-per-view itself. And we kicked Night of Champions off itself with the Intercontinental title match between Ryback, who was the champion, and Kevin Owens. Decent match to open. I probably would have opened with Ziggler and Rusev myself. And put sort of Owens a bit further down the card. But it was a good match to start off with. I genuinely thought Rollins and Cena would open it up, give Rollins a bit of recovery time, but obviously Sheamus had other ideas with his promo in the pre-show. But solid match to open. It wasn't anything special, like I said. Two sort of hard. It's tough when two hard, heavy-hitting guys are fighting. Owens is very agile for his size. Ryback is surprisingly maneuverable himself, so it was a bit of a surprise to to see two big guys sort of struggling really to open it up. The crowd weren't particularly into it. Kevin Owens went after Ryback's arm for most of the match to try and take away the power, to take away the meat hook clothesline, and obviously the shell shocked. The finish was a bit sort of suspect. The commentary didn't really help it, I don't think. Ryback picked up, obviously made his comeback, picked Owens up for a shell shocked. Owens raked the eyes and hit him with the roll up of death. It was the first one of two that happened tonight as well, bringing back those old school finishes. There were some good finishes tonight. I was really happy with all of them. The Divas one was a bit suspect, but the Divas division's not really going anywhere. The Revolution as well and truly ended, I think. Well, it ended last Monday night on Raw, to be honest. But never mind the Divas. We'll talk to the Divas later. It was actually quite a good match, but we'll scratch that. We're talking about the Intercontinental title. The announcers went up for a shell shocked. Kevin Owens raked the eyes, roll up, 1, 2, 3. Your new Intercontinental champion is Kevin Owens. Really happy with the fact that Owens won. He needed a title. He's done so much good work. His program with Cena over those 3.5 months was absolutely phenomenal. It was only really a matter of time before he had a title in his hands after losing the NXT title to Finn Balor. And I'm really glad he's got the Intercontinental title. Ryback wasn't a bad champion, but he just didn't really do a lot with the title. It was tough for him really to go anywhere with it. His personality isn't one. I'm not saying he's not a champion, but he's not got that personality that Kevin Owens has got, and he's not got that character ability to take it to the next level where Owens has. And he could make the Intercontinental title a really, really sort of top title and put it back on the place where it should be. The announcers called the finish as Owens should have been disqualified for an eye rake. Not really. It's a heel move. I've never seen anybody being disqualified for an eye rake. Feel free to correct me if anybody knows of that, but as far as I'm concerned, there's never been in the WWE a disqualification for an eye rake or a poke in the eye or anything else like that. It's a heel move. Kevin Owens is going to win it to try and gain an advantage. What more do you need to say? But because the referee was behind, he didn't see it, and apparently that should have been a disqualification with a load of rubbish. But yeah, Kevin Owens wins, and he's your new Intercontinental title. Like I said, solid match. Nothing too spectacular, but Owens really deserves it. He'll take that title really, really well. After the Owens and Ryback match, we had the Paul Heyman promo for Brocktober. This came out of the blue. It was really, really cool how they did it. He announced, obviously, the Lesnar on the network special at MSG, Madison Square Garden, is facing the Big Show. It's like a special WWE card. It'll be on the network. I think it's the 3rd of October, so a couple of weeks away. Not this week, I think it's the week after. But then we had two massive announcements. The first, October 19th, I believe it is, after Monday Night Raw, Stone Cold Steve Austin has a new podcast. His guest is the Beast incarnate, Brock Lesnar. That is going to be huge. There's a well-known thing that, well, Brock doesn't really get on with anybody, but especially Stone Cold. Those two have had a bit of history in the past. WrestleMania 20, I think it was, when Lesnar faced Goldberg. Austin was the referee. And then they've sort of traded back and forth. They're not the nicest of people. They're two very, very combustible elements. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens there. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be awesome. And then a week later, 6 days later, in the next WWE pay-per-view, which is Hell in a Cell, we get Brock Lesnar against The Undertaker in a Hell in a Cell match. No one saw this coming. It's the main event for Hell in a Cell has been sorted. It's going to be massive. I fear a little bit for The Undertaker. We saw later on in the night what WWE does when they put older guys, should we say, in the ring with modern guys, modern day guys, newer guys, fresher guys, bigger guys, and it's not good. So I fear a little bit for The Undertaker, but he did well enough against Lesnar at SummerSlam. So I'm very shocked that Taker's coming back so soon. There was a huge thing about he collapsed after the SummerSlam match with Lesnar, and as he was going backstage, I'm surprised he's back so soon. But that match is going to be incredible. It's the first match ever where two guys have fought inside Hell in a Cell for the second time. If you go back to 2002 and remember that match at the Attitude Era, sorry, not the Attitude Era, No Mercy is what I was thinking of. then you will know it was probably one of the best Hell in a Cell matches I've ever seen. It was so good. So if anything is half as good as what that is, then you're in for a treat. Where do they go? It's a difficult one to go with because you've already announced the main event with no backing at all. Lesnar's been off screen, as has Undertaker, since SummerSlam. So that was a month ago. So it's tough because now you've got to build a card around that. You could make it the worst card ever, and that would still be the best main event ever. But obviously, with Rollins as your champion, you're going to want him as your main event. But we saw later on that we know why. Lesnar and Taker is going to close the show. We know practically who's going to be the number one contender for Lesnar's title, for Rollins' title. Sorry, but I'm so stoked for the Hell in a Cell now. Lesnar Taker 3 is going to be it's going to be absolutely incredible. Can't wait for it. So that was Brocktober, and that was Heyman's promo. That was pretty sick. The next match we had was Dolph Ziggler and Rusev. Thank God this is over. Hopefully. The match wasn't great. It wasn't bad. It wasn't terrible. It was all right. It was a similar match to the SummerSlam one. It was nothing particularly special. At least this one had a finish. Ziggler wins with a zigzag after Summer Rae. Oh, God. There wasn't anything really particularly memorable in the match. You could tell the way it was going that the way it was going to end was with Summer Rae interfering and costing either Ziggler or Rusev the match. Turns out she tried to interfere into the match. The referee ejected her. She starts throwing a tantrum. She threw one of her shoes down the aisle. She threw the other one towards the ref. The ref ducked, and it hit Rusev square in the chest. Ziggler hit the zigzag, gets a 3 count. Ziggler wins. Rivalry's over. The finish sums up the entire rivalry. Who throws a shoe? And if you throw a shoe, surely it's not going to end the match. Good God. I said on my SummerSlam thing, it's difficult to get into a rivalry where the backstory focuses more on the two guys who are fighting. And it's true because no one cares about Ziggler and Rusev in this feud. And it's a shame because these two guys they're really, really talented. I've said about Kevin Owens being agile for a big guy. Rusev is super agile for a big guy. And Ziggler is just really, really over, and you need to put him back up. You need to put Ziggler as the monster heel that he debuted in the WWE and kicked John Cena's ass before getting buried at Mania. And you need to put Ziggler back in a title picture. The Intercontinental title would be perfect. Him against Owens would be awesome for the Intercontinental title. And you just need Rusev to be that ass-kicking machine again. You don't want him having a love triangle with Summer Rae or Lana, or, it also says a lot that Lana's out for 4 months with a broken wrist, and she was more of the centre of attention than anyone else in this match. The fans didn't care. They just kept chatting, we want Lana. I think it would have been cool to see her in the ring, to see her come out, with Ziggler. Well, she sort of did. She saw Dolph's attire. He had a picture of Lana on his crotch, which is very, very strange, looking like Rick Rude. But it's like I say, it's difficult to care about the rivalry between two guys when the backstory focuses more on what's going on than the two guys in the ring. But hopefully this rivalry is over because it's been bloody terrible. Ziggler wins, and that's really all I'm going to say about that. Like I say, build Rusev off as the monster heel, put Ziggler in the title hunt for the Intercontinental title. Both guys move on and forget what that past 2 months has been about, because that's a point in their career they just do not need to look back on. The next match was the tag team title match between the Dudley Boys and the New Day. New Day defending as the tag team champions. I find it really difficult to decide who I wanted to win this match, mainly because I grew up watching the Dudleys. Back in my day, the 3 tag teams were the Dudleys, the Hardys, and Edge and Christian, and those were the tag teams that everybody loved. It didn't matter who were the belts or what the matches were; those were the 3 that everybody wanted to see. So it was so cool when they came back a few weeks ago. Nostalgia just went through the roof. It was awesome. They haven't lost a step at all, even during their time in TNA. I'm really, really glad they're back. But the New Day are just awesome. So, so good. There were just individual bits of the match were just absolutely awesome. Xavier Woods and his trombone is just something that needs to happen regularly, every week. Just needs to come back out. At one point, he I think Big E was stomping on Bubba Ray in the corner, and every time he stomped on him, Xavier Woods would play the trombone to the stomp. Later on in the match, he was playing the Rocky theme tune. It was one of those just genuinely laugh out loud moments because it's just so funny. Um, I didn't like when the New Day came out, their promo before the Dudleys came out. I read somewhere that Xavier Woods said that none of it's scripted, and it sort of showed tonight. It seemed very, very awkward. It almost seemed like they ran out of things to say. There was quite a funny moment when they mentioned President Obama, and he got booed out of the building, which was quite funny. Yeah, it seemed very awkward. I think they need to sort of practice a routine before they come out, and then hit it when they're out there. But other than that, it was good fun. It was a really good match actually. The finish was built around the match. Sorry, was built around the fact the Dudleys had never lost a match when they've hit the 3D, which is their finishing move, the tag team finishing move. You've all seen the 3D. And then the commentators kept referencing that no one had ever kicked out that, which you shouldn't do. So going into it, you felt that it could happen tonight, and it shouldn't have. It didn't, luckily. But the finish came when the Dudleys hit the 3D on Kofi Kingston. Big E had been taken out of the picture, and Xavier Woods came in to break up the pin, causing the disqualification. So the Dudleys win. The titles stay with the New Day. Correct decision. I don't think that. I think it would have hurt the Dudleys to lose clean in their first pay-per-view match back in 10 years. And it would definitely have hurt the New Day to lose their titles a month or two after regaining them from the primetime players. So it's definitely the right decision. I'm glad WWE went with this one. Afterwards, considering the whole save the tables thing, the New Day wanted to put the Dudleys through a table. It backfired on them. And if anyone has got the gif of Xavier Woods being 3D through a table, you need to send it to me or put it up on social media because the facial expressions were just incredible. The guy knows his character so well. If you look at him on Twitter, he's very similar to how you'd imagine him in real life, and his persona in the ring masks that. He's just brilliant. The guy's brilliant. Yeah, it was a really, really fun match. Good end, good finish, correct finish. It sets up a rematch from Hell in a Cell, which will be really, really cool. I'm really looking forward to it. So, yeah, that was the tag team titles. The next match was the Divas title. It was a good match. It was better than the SummerSlam match. It wasn't as good as the match on Raw, but the finish was different. We have a new Divas Championship, and it is Charlotte. It's difficult to really congratulate her when she should have won on Monday Night Raw. We all know why she wasn't. The match went just short of Bella's reign over AJ Lee. I don't know quite how long the reign is. I think it's 200 and something days. I'm not particularly sure on what the number is exactly. But they obviously had to give Nikki Bella the record. There's phone calls from John Cena. But it didn't feel. Yeah, it was good that Charlotte won. I'm really happy for one. She could tell by the emotion at the end that it meant so much to her to win it. With Ric Flair obviously there as well, and I think she gave blew a kiss up towards. I think it's her brother who has passed away. I think Nick, one of Ric Flair's sons, who died I think a couple of years ago. So that was a really cool moment. And you felt it was real. Charlotte, has worked really hard for it. It was a good match, but it was a strange one because Nikki dominated this match from start to finish. A good sort of 10 minutes of just kicking Charlotte's ass, working on her leg so she couldn't apply the figure eight, she calls it. And it looked like she was in a lot of pain, and she worked on that leg really well. In fairness, Nikki Bella, that was probably her best match I've ever seen her wrestle, because the Bellas are just fucking awful. They need to leave the WWE. It's horrendous. But then Charlotte wins with a spear and then locks in the figure eight, and that's it. It was a really rushed ending, and there was no comeback. It was just a spear, figure eight. Nikki taps out. We've got a new champion. It was a very rushed finish, and it was a finish that epitomised what was wrong with the Divas division back in the day. Your quick matches, quick finishes, pointless finishes that didn't make any sense. And this Divas revolution is going backwards. I hope they make the Charlotte's next rivalry like an NXT rivalry. So you put in not Bailey, sorry, Sasha Banks. You put in Paige would be pretty cool if she went into it. Becky Lynch. You need someone fresh. You don't want the Bellas going back at it. Nikki will obviously have a rematch. Charlotte can brush that one aside. Hopefully it'll be on Raw tonight, and we can move on because the Bella's reign, especially in the last couple of months, has been horrific. Like I say, it didn't fit. It was good that Charlotte won, but it didn't feel as good as it would have done if she'd won on Monday Night Raw, which took it away. The Ric Flair promo afterwards. Oh my word! Charlotte was celebrating backstage with Paige and Becky Lynch, and Ric Flair came in and was, "How are we going to celebrate tonight?" And it came to sort of the Charlotte, we're going to. What's it called? Is it freestyling, wheeling, dealing, whatever Ric Flair says? But it made it sound like Ric Flair was going to go out and pick up chicks with these three women. It was very, very strange. It was very funny. But I think Ric Flair needs to stay away from women like that age because he's going to have a heart attack. But yeah, congratulations to Charlotte. She deserves it. It was really cool. I'm glad the Bella's reign is over. Hopefully we won't have another one because that will be. Christ, if Brie Bella ever wins the Divas title, I think people will just explode and boycott the WWE. Yeah, Charlotte's your new Divas champion. Congratulations to her. She thoroughly deserves it. It's the second title change of the night. And we move on to the six-man tag team match between the Wyatt family and the Shield and the mystery partner. It was Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper, and Eric, what's his name? Braun Strowman against Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, and the mystery partner. The mystery partner turned out to be Chris Jericho, which was a bit of a shocker. I didn't really know who it would be. I didn't have any clue. I thought it'd be Randy Orton. Rumors were going all over the place. You know, we had people from The Rock, we had Daniel Bryan, Randy Orton, Jey Uso, Jericho himself. It was. I honestly had no clue who it was going to be. I was really happy to see Jericho back. It's been a while since we've seen him on WWE. Jericho's a super cool competitor. He puts over so many good people. The match was all right. It wasn't. We've seen the Shield and the Wyatts go at it before a couple of years ago. Their match at Elimination Chamber when Rollins was part of the Shield was probably the best six-man tag match I've ever seen in my life. But yeah, this one, it wasn't bad. It was hard hitting. It basically did the job. I think everybody called the Wyatts to win it, especially after SummerSlam. And again, another clean finish. It was good. The finish came when Roman Reigns hit two Superman punches and a spear on Strowman. And he went for a second spear. Jericho tagged himself in. It was a blind tag. Not a blind tag, but Reigns didn't see it coming. Jericho hit the lion salt on Strowman. Strowman then kicked out, just like a Big Show kick out of Rey Mysterio. It was ridiculous. After taking four finishers, if you like. Then the Whites cleaned Ambrose and Reigns out of the ring, and Strowman used a submission finisher. Jericho passed out, and the Whites get the win. Difficult one to really sort of judge. The end, I think, gave away more than the actual match itself, with Reigns and Ambrose sort of stood in front of Jericho. Jericho just turned his back and walked away. I hope Jericho comes back on TV and we see heel Jericho, because he's a heel character. He always has been. It's always been his best work, and it'd be really cool to see him come back like that. I think a program with him and Ambrose would be really, really cool. It would be very similar, not very similar, but to the CM Punk Jericho rivalry. I think that was some of Jericho's best recent work anyway. His rivalry against Bray Wyatt wasn't particularly impressive. But yeah, I think him and Ambrose, if they had a rivalry, would be very, very cool. It was the right finish to the match to make Strowman look strong. The guy is huge, by the way. I didn't quite realise how big he actually was. The guy's massive. Who can stop the Wyatt family? I hope John Cena doesn't get this. They're going to build him up really strong, and John Cena comes along and just beats him in about 10 minutes, just like he did with Bray Wyatt. It's difficult when you're the Wyatt family because, Harper's a really cool guy. His rivalry with Ambrose over the past few months has been really, really good. But they're just a tag team. But you don't seem to go after the tag team titles, which is a weird one. Wyatt's a good singles competitor, but always gets buried. The Undertaker, John Cena, Roman Reigns, the list goes on. So it's difficult to see where the Wyatts can go from here, apart from just attacking individual superstars, and then that superstar getting a couple of bimbers to have a tag team match with them. That's all that seems to be happening at the minute, which is disappointing because they're all really, really good individual wrestlers. So it'd be interesting to see if, but it didn't really work out when the team broke up. So it's gonna be interesting to see what they do from here. I personally keep them as they are and just keep doing what they're doing because they are really good as a unit, and we just see where they go with Strowman. As long as he doesn't face John Cena, then we're golden. So next we had the first. That was the last hour. Now this is, and we get into the Seth Rollins hour, and we start with the US title match. Best match of the night. It was really, really good. It wasn't quite as good as their match at SummerSlam. That was very, very impressive. But it was still a top match. Like I said, the card itself was solid, if unspectacular. But this really, really was good. I did worry that no matter where they put this match, it would burn the crowd out, and I was right. It was probably the worst place to put it before the main event, the world title match, because the crowd were not into it. I wouldn't have put Cena last. I know John Cena is the star of the WWE still, and you just don't put the US title last. I said before, putting the US title, the World Heavyweight title match, it has to be last. It's your biggest prize in your industry, so I'm glad they didn't do that. But yeah, it was, like I said, really, really good match. Both men's chemistry in the ring with each other was absolutely awesome. Cena in his I wouldn't say dwindling years, but in his twilight of his career, if you like, he's turning into a cruiserweight. Some of the moves he was doing tonight were brilliant. He hit a Code Red, which is the best one he hit. He hit one against Rollins. A couple of, I think he hit one at SummerSlam, and he's hit a couple of others as well. He hit one against Kevin Owens, which was, luckily he hit it because they botched that a bit. But this one was the best one he hit. He also did. Rollins went for a buckle bomb into the corner and Cena countered it into a hurricanrana. That was pretty cool. Yeah, he's turning into a cruiserweight at this point. I'm waiting for him to pull a mask on and do a 619. That'd be pretty funny. Seth Rollins' moveset is absolutely phenomenal. The superplex combo is absolutely sick. If you haven't seen it, you need to check it out. He hits John Cena with a superplex, and then he rolls through and then hits another, I think it's a float over suplex, I think they call it, but he just keeps the hold locked in. It's really, really cool. The strength of Rollins is good. There was one spot where he countered one of John Cena's moves, literally dead weight, picked him up off the floor and threw him into the corner for the buckle bomb. That was really cool. There were some really, really good spots in it. The finish came. It's a right choice to have Cena as the US champ. His best work has been when he's been the US champ. His open challenge, I hope that comes back because those matches were absolutely awesome. The finish came when Cena hit the top rope leg drop, hit the AA, and won. John Cena, ladies and gentlemen, John Cena won a match with an AA. When was the last time that happened? Instead of people kicking out of it 3 or 4 times a match. Yeah, he won a match with an AA. That was pretty cool. But yeah, right choice to have Cena as the US champ. I hope he carries on, like I say, with his US Open Challenge because that was the best work of his career for many, many years. Yeah, that was really good. After the one thing I did enjoy, it was back-to-back matches, so you expected Sting to come out straight away. Well, not straight away, but like a couple of minutes afterwards. John Cena had to have his 5-minute celebration. Oh, God. Wins the US title. He goes out and celebrates with a kid in the crowd. I presume it was like a Make-A-Wish thing that he did, so that was pretty cool. But then he comes in the ring and gloats and he's won the US title, and it's just sort of like, Christ's sake. Yeah, you've won the US title, now get out. We've got the main event to come. Don't gloat for 5 minutes that you've just won the bloody US title again, you fart. Anyway, that's nitpicking. Rollins tried to then leave. He decided he'd had enough, didn't want to defend the World Heavyweight title. Cena stopped him. Rollins shoved him out of the way. Cena then AAs Rollins onto the floor and then chucks him into the ring and walks off. Cena walks out to the back. We wait for Sting to come through. A couple of minutes later, Sting comes out. Rollins is still sort of struggling. And we have the World Heavyweight title match. The last match on the card. For a 56-year-old man, Sting can move. it was a good match. I really enjoyed it. The crowd were burned out though. It was really, really tough to sort of the. The only time the crowd really got into it was late, very late on in the match. I'll talk about that in a minute because Sting had a big, big problem. Um, but for Sting to move, some of the bumps he was taking were absolutely incredible. He dominated Rollins, and Rollins was being bumped. Seth Rollins as well. I'll make a point about him. Probably one of the best um, artists, if you want to use that word, in the ring. The guy is phenomenal. He knows how to sell moves. He knows how to sell anything. Sting, it made it look like he was getting his ass kicked from Sting. Um, and he sold it perfectly, absolutely perfectly. And when he got into the match, Sting was doing exactly the same. I didn't expect them to have so much chemistry in the ring, but it was really, really impressive. I was very, very surprised about how well they did. It was really, really cool. But yeah, Sting, oh my god, he he shows you how weak the announce tables are nowadays. They were fighting outside, and they were both on the I wouldn't call it the English announce table, but the main announce table, Cole Lawler and JBL's announce table. Rollins shoved Sting through the Spanish announce table. That was a really hard bump as well. Sting smashed his head off the back of the monitor as well. That was pretty bad. Rollins' other bumps in the match were Rollins went for a springboard move. Sting caught him as he cut the top rope and launched him into the barrier at ringside. That was pretty cool. The match was very, very good. Like I say about the crowd, they were really burned out until Sting needed medical help during the match. I don't know whether this was staged or not. I don't think it was, having read reports today. Rollins went for a buckle bomb and Sting went flying off the turnbuckle. His neck and kidneys snapped back so badly. He took that bump like a pro. Then Rollins went for a clothesline and Sting just collapsed. The doctor came in, checked on Sting and stuff, and as soon as that happened, the match, Sting went for the Scorpion Death Drop, I think it is. Rollins counted it into a pedigree. Sting reversed it again. Rollins into the second roll-up of death, and Rollins wins. That was a couple of minutes after Sting had received medical attention. The finish, I think the finish changed because of Sting receiving medical attention. I don't know how it would have ended, but it just didn't seem like really, really good. It seemed very sort of rushed and made Rollins look like the cheap champion that he is, that he has to use a roll up to beat Sting. But I genuinely believe the finish changed because Sting had to be. I mean, you saw later on he had to be escorted out the back. I think because of his injuries that he suffered, the finish changed. But Seth Rollins retained the World Heavyweight title, and then Sheamus' music hit, and Sheamus came down to. Well, Sheamus didn't come down. His music hit. Rollins turned around. Sheamus came out of the crowd and bro kicked Rollins out of absolutely nowhere. Went to cash it in. At this point, everybody's thinking, no, it can't be happening. No. We don't want him. Nobody wants Sheamus as the World Heavyweight Champion at all. So as he's just about to cash it in, flames go up in the air. Kane is back, but it's not Corporate Kane. It's Demon Kane. Red mask and all. Demon Kane is so much better. Heel Kane is just awesome. He chokeslams Seth Rollins, which is a bit of a shocker. Then he chokeslams Sheamus, and then he tombstones Seth Rollins. There's no cash in. Rollins is still your World Heavyweight Championship. And the show closes with Kane staring at Seth Rollins. That's your World Heavyweight title match at Hell in a Cell. Kane versus Seth Rollins. I'm so glad Sheamus didn't cash in. I'm always going to say that on every pay-per-view. He will cash in, and I do think he'll win the world title. I just don't know when. People think that Rollins is going to beat CM Punk's reign as the World Heavyweight title, as World Heavyweight Champion. That would be pretty cool to see. That'll take him sort of past WrestleMania next year. That'll be pretty good to see. It's difficult to put what Sheamus is not. I don't think he's a main event superstar, but I don't think if he cashed in the Money in the Bank last night and lost, where would that put him? That would put him sort of like down the bottom. He's a mid-card superstar. I don't think he's anything better than that, but I don't think he should lose the Money in the Bank, if you get me. I don't know what I want to see, to be perfectly honest. I don't want him as a champion. I don't want him to lose the Money in the Bank because he'll just turn into a jobber. I think he'll win the world title. I just wonder when it'll happen. I wonder if it'll be like a Alberto Del Rio moment where he goes to cash it in and just get kicked square in the face. He cashed it in later on and won it, so maybe it'll be something like that. But nobody wants to see Sheamus as the world champion, do they? Well, I certainly don't. But yeah, Rollins is still your world heavyweight champion. We had 3 title changes tonight. We have a new Intercontinental champion in Kevin Owens. We have a new Divas champion in Charlotte, and we have a new US champion in John Cena. And that is it, guys. Like I say, the pay-per-view was solid, if unspectacular. I'm looking forward to watching Raw tonight. It should be really, really good. Hopefully, I'll answer some questions from last night and move on towards Hell in a Cell. I'll leave, like I said, solid, if unspectacular. I will leave my Twitter handle at the end of the video if you guys want to follow me. You know what to do. Follow me, at me, like me, subscribe me, high five me, do whatever you need to do. But I hope you guys enjoy this video. I'm going to keep making more, mainly because it's what I want to do. So if you guys want to see more, you're going to get more. But for now, I'm Alex. Thanks very much for watching. See ya!